Welcome, friends, it's the MovieFilm Podcast. MovieFilm Podcast, enjoy the show. Zaki and Brian are talking about the movies. MovieFilm Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to MovieFilm. This is episode 265. Now, as we record this, it is the Saturday before the Academy Awards, and I have to ask you, as a SoCal resident, does everyone down there have Oscar fever?
You know what? Nah, I'm not getting that sense.
Is there a shelter in place warning just in case a slap is imminent?
Well, that's been funny. I can't remember if we talked about that, but I guess the Academy said they have a crisis team, and it's set in place for any incidents should they go down. And I think in the statement they said they have...
Somebody is going to slap someone again? Is that what they really think?
Well, that's funny. But also... I think they said something to the effect of, we have run many scenarios, and it's like, I would love to watch that. I would love to watch like whoever's standing on stage pretending to do something, and then someone sitting in a seat and being like, get your wife's name, and like, here we go, this is what we trained for, like. I wonder what that looks like. And
see, I picture like a tactical team around like a table with a holographic display, and then somebody on the side is like running simulations, and like the leader of the team's like, okay, do Alpha B X3, and it's like this new hologram comes up,
Yeah, and it's like Michael Biehn, like, from like Aliens or whatever, just like, damn it, you got to be faster.
That, what's funny? That's exactly what I was picturing in my mind. So I love that we're on enough of a wavelength where, like, exactly what I was throwing down.
Exactly. Like, all these celebrities are doing CrossFit and shit. We got to be quicker.
And then one person said, I say we nuke the site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
And then that guy gets let go.
Cut to him walking out with like a cardboard box. I'm just saying.
See, that's maybe a good SNL sketch or something. So the Oscars, are you going to watch, by the way?
I am not going to. I think I've said this before. I realized about well, I guess I was going to say like 3 years ago. No, it's been like 8 or 9 years where I'm like, wait, I don't have to watch it anymore.
Wow.
I can just I can monitor the chatter on social media.
It's funny because I have noticed in the past 8 or 9 years or so that, like people saying, I don't watch that. And I've watched
Brian,
them.
Hold on, Brian.
Yeah.
I have to, as we are sitting here laughing, you and I just received a text from Federica, your fiance,
yes,
saying, can you guys please take this job seriously? And the answer is no. And that's the way we likes it.
And that's the way we likes it. It's probably funny. She just hears me on the other side of the wall laughing like a jackal. Like, what are you doing? She's an avid listener, so I know she's going to enjoy this later.
I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. Slaps, Oscars. Oh, yeah. So I know in the past several years, people have, increasingly, I feel like I find, say that they don't watch it, but I've watched them like every year, ever since I was a kid. It's just like, it's like Super Bowl. I'm like, Super Bowl, Oscars.
That's commitment.
Yeah. But it's funny because last year, no, actually, well, there's two. And that was kind of the COVID-y one that was in a train station. I was out of town and I didn't really miss it.
Right.
It was a weird year, but
that's
last
the one
year,
where Anthony Hopkins slept through it and he got Best Actor. Right?
Was he there sleeping through it, or do you mean his performance?
He was like, "Hey, I'm not there. I'm in like." And they all thought that Chadwick Boseman would get it.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
so they set it up. They had like Chadwick Boseman's wife give the announcement. I mean, it was something really elaborate, and then Anthony Hopkins, which like through no fault of Anthony Hopkins,
sure,
but everyone was like, "Huh."
That's so. I on my TikTok. What am I talking about? My Instagram algorithm.
I think you just told on yourself.
I don't have a TikTok. That's why I was like so confused. But I saw this like blooper from Silence of the Lambs with Anthony Hopkins, where it's like this low angle, just the behind the scenes, even seeing like the clapper in the, scene marker take one, like he's horrifying to look at. He's so creepy. But then he does the whole take like Sylvester Stallone. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't.
He's just like, hey, yo, but it's like filmed from this horrifying angle, and he's doing the lines from the movie, and it was really funny.
The man's a treasure, Brian.
The man's a treasure. The man's a treasure. But no, okay. So last year was the first year I was at home and actually chose not to watch the Oscars live. And that was when all of a sudden, the phone's like, bing, 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 bing,
That
bing,
was
bing.
the day.
Yeah. I was like, oh man, that's so funny. And then I saw, Will Smith slaps Chris Rock. And I thought, oh yeah, huh. Like it just didn't, I couldn't register that it would be anything actually serious. So then I had to go back and check the tape, and then the one year, but we will be watching it this year. Actually, we're having some people over, so.
Well,
But not
I'll be
you.
there in spirit. I'll be there like Mufasa watching over you. And,
I would love that. A cloud gathers outside.
that's right. That'll be me just waving.
Yeah.
Yoo-hoo.
But I've seen most of the
but-
movies though this year. Sometimes I'm not totally up on it, but I feel like I've seen most of them. So it should be and you've got Avatar and Top Gun and Everything Everywhere. I feel like kind of broke through to become more mainstream than one might think. In other years. So I wonder if the audience will be up this year. Who knows?
I'm curious what the winner will be. It seems like it's leaning towards Everything Everywhere.
Yeah, which I'd be more than happy. I mean, it's one of those things too where we've been hearing about it for so long, and it came out literally about a year ago. So I think some people are feeling like, oh, okay, like this again, like it's becoming predictable. But like, you can't put out of your mind what it was like when you first saw it. I mean, it's a really special movie, so that's what I'm rooting for.
I was looking at, I think it was Entertainment Weekly. They had like anonymous comments from Academy voters.
I love those. I love reading
What
those.
a bunch of catty bitches. Oh my God.
The first word that came to my mind was catty. Yes, because they are. They're so catty.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny to me because we not we, but like people sort of put like, oh, the Academy, like we put it up on this pedestal. And
Right.
I'm like, no, it's just a bunch of assholes
Yeah.
who
Right.
probably haven't watched the nominees.
That's the thing that gets disturbing is when they're like, what are you voting for best documentary? And they're like, well, I didn't watch any of them, but I know this guy, he lives down the road from me. And you're like, what?
You know that there is like X number of people who are filling out that ballot the way like the burnout in high school who was just like trying to make a picture on his Scantron.
Right. That's funny.
Yeah, there's at least a few people filling out them ballots that way. I know.
Just doing C all the way down. C,
Yeah,
C,
right.
C. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, it's got to be right eventually.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, but I was just thinking two weeks ago, it was exactly 2 weeks ago, you and I were sharing the same slab of real estate.
I know. I was thinking about that this morning before we recorded because I thought, wow, the last time I did this, I was literally shoulder to shoulder with you. But
And now, and through the magic of the internet, we pick up the slack with no loss in quality. One hopes.
Yep. I'm just kidding.
But what have you seen? We have two big releases.
We do. We got a lot to talk about, and you pointed out that they're both requels.
Yeah, they're legacy sequels.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting. But up top, I'll just say, to mention this real quick, TV wise, Last of Us. Have you kept up with it? You and Amina are watching it, right?
Yes. So we've not watched the most recent one.
Okay, dark.
But that's what I hear.
Yeah.
But we watched although my understanding is that they brought in the actor Troy Baker, I think is his name.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
Who plays Joel in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought that was kind of cool. So the last one we saw was one with Storm Reed and Bella Thorne in the shopping mall.
Right, which was like a DLC extension sort of game, which only took like about an hour to play, but which was kind of cool seeing how they integrated it into the show. I like that. I like Ellie sort of like making a decision at the beginning, flashing back to this thing, and then seeing how, contextualizing it and making a choice at the end. And the last one's pretty intense, but man, I'm just loving it. Like I was so worried. I know everybody was really excited, but I was worried when this was like approaching, and I'm really happy. I think it's a really great interpretation of the game. So I can't believe we only have one episode left. I can't decide if I feel like, one more. And I can't decide if I feel like it's going too fast or if maybe they did it just right and they're not spinning wheels for 4 extra episodes.
Well, my understanding is season 1 is meant to be the entire first game.
Right.
So is it on pace to do that? Yeah.
I mean, I know what it's going to be, obviously, but I always feel this way when I'm watching a show that I'm like loving and it's on the last episode, and you're always like, how are they going to wrap all this up in like 40 minutes, or 45 minutes or so? But, I guess.
Have you progressed with Yellowstone since the last time I saw you?
No, I've got really, really busy. So this week was about trying to see the movies for this week and Last of Us. And then I was going to mention too that I finished Poker Face on Peacock.
Oh yeah. See, now I'm going to watch that now that it's all out there.
I enjoyed it. I'm very curious. I almost don't want to put it in your head, but it gets a little, I like that it was week to week because it is a repetitive template. Mm-hmm. So it's really relies on how interesting the story of the week is, or like the universe they plop her into. And along the way, there was one I like started and stopped like 3 times. Wow. But other ones are like really strong and I love them. So but like all said and done, I like it. I like that it was like this 1 hour every week that I could go, oh yeah, there's a new Poker Face. So I'll be curious to talk about it with you when it's done.
Well, I'll keep you posted.
But Yellowstone, yes, that'll probably be this week. Now I'm kind of caught up on movies and other things. I'll probably get back to that.
Got to get back to Kevin Costner in a grumbly tone.
Yeah.
Saying
back to the ranch.
Yeah, exactly. You got it.
Yeah. Rip. Fetch my hat. Anyway, movie wise though, I watched one of your recommendations to me, The Kid Detective. Because I'd watched Fleischman is in Trouble, which I absolutely loved on Hulu. And I said, I want to see more Adam Brody. Adam Brody is just kind of effortlessly great. I really like him a lot.
You know who wishes more people would say that? Adam Brody.
Well, it's funny because I was thinking that. And so I go on his IMDb thinking, this guy needs to be working more, but he like kind of is. I mean, he's in the Shazam movie and he's got this.
Wasn't he like Sean's nemesis for a while there?
Maybe. I wonder why. I don't remember why. But
Sean had a list of enemies that was like stuff like something Homer Simpson would have in his, like U.S. Postal Service and, like Captain Kangaroo.
That's Captain Kangaroo.
Like, I just remember, I think it was around the time the OC was on. Sean was just like, I hate Adam Brody. So I always found that amusing.
Yeah, that's funny. Because I always liked him on the
Embry.
OC.
Do you remember that? Ethan Embry.
That one I remember more. Yeah, he's so quirky though. I don't know, Empire Records.
I picture Ethan Embry listening to this, just like, huh?
Yeah. Me? Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Like maybe we could have like coffee sometime. And,
that's right. Change your mind. I'd love to. I'd love the chance. Yeah.
You're like, you'd love that, wouldn't you? Yeah. But Adam Brody, this movie just further proved, gosh, I love this guy. Like he's just so good. Like there's this joke, by the way, that is so funny in this movie. I'm just gonna like say it because why not?
Yeah.
Where basically he's in a cafe with this girl, and he is just like, man, this town or like this restaurant used to be like the center of the universe. Like people on a Saturday night, you couldn't even get in this place. It was so packed. They used to serve breakfast for dinner and dinner for breakfast. And the girl's like, why? And he's like, they thought it was funny. But he says it like wistfully. They thought it was funny. And I just laughed so hard.
That's kind of the genius of this movie is that it the the it's hilarious because it plays it totally straight.
Yes, I butchered that joke, by the way. I mean, if you watch it in the context, it's hilarious. But that's the thing. I mean, it doesn't go full brick necessarily,
Right.
where it's like a high school, that movie, you know, the Ryan Johnson film, a high school noir kind of thing. But it is kinda, you know, it does feel like a
No, for sure.
detective dime, you know, detective novel kind of thing. So
Yeah.
you've already said the premise, but just real quick, I'll say it again. It's basically about a kid detective, sort of like a Encyclopedia Brown, who used to solve the mystery of the missing, money, the funds for the school funds, and da 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 da. And so the town is small enough that they're like, hey, that's great. Let's give you an office. Why don't you solve these little mysteries? But then as he gets older, there was one serious case that he could never solve, like this girl that has gone missing. And then someone, so he feels a little washed up. Maybe his best years are behind him as an adult now, peaked when he was a kid. And then this girl comes in with this mystery and wants him to solve it. And so him as this kind of funny, washed up mid-30s guy with something to prove, getting reinvested in his skill set again is just it's dry. It's a dry comedy. It's dark. It gets pretty dark. But there's just funny moments about like sneaking in someone's room and having to hide in a closet.
Yeah.
It's like unique takes on those sorts of tropes. And it's just I've never seen this before. Like it was just a cool yarn to it felt fresh. And when it was over, I was like, give me another one of these. I'd watch another. So
what's funny is I first heard about that movie in the most random way. There's a YouTube channel called Secret Galaxy, hosted by a guy named Dan Larson, who it's just like looks back on nostalgic things.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, when I was visiting, we watched it. It was like the history of Chuck E. Cheese. Remember that?
Oh, yes, that guy. Yeah,
that guy. So he had a thing about Encyclopedia Brown.
Ah.
And then at the end, it's like, oh, and by the way, there's this movie. And I was like, go on, And I just kind of fell down the rabbit hole. But it totally, it was just this wonderful treat that I had never heard of.
Yeah.
It was just absolutely, just a delight,
Yeah, and it's funny because I thought it was the perfect mixture of funny, like wry, but also kind of serious. And like the way that it doesn't end on a joke. It actually ends kind of seriously, with his reactions, to everything he's experienced. And I was surprised, but also like I admired it. I was like, wow, this is really, I love that whoever made this, it feels got to make a completely uninhibited expression. This is what they wanted to make. And nobody said it needs to be more this or less that. Like it's pretty good. So thank you for the recommendation.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah. And then lastly, I'll just mention, I've been kind of busy lately. Oh, wait, what?
I was just say in the same vein, you also watched
well, Titanic 3D.
Just like this micro budget
yes.
character piece.
Yeah, I'm just so glad that no one inhibited his expression. And no, so I'd been kind of busy, and evenings have been reserved for kind of it's a little late, maybe I'll just watch some TV. And I didn't get to some of the movies I wanted to see and whatnot. But Titanic had been released in 3D, I want to say like 5 years ago, and I'd heard it was good.
No, it was 10 years ago.
10 years ago. Oh, wow.
It was 2012.
Holy cow. Okay. So, as longtime listeners of the show will know, I mean, I love this movie. It's one of my favorite movies. So I want to see it in a theater again if I can. Missed it. And then when I saw it was back in 3D, supposedly great 3D, I was like, I just want to see what that's all about. And so I just kept missing it. And finally, I saw through schedules, it was the last night it was playing. So I went at 10 at night to go watch this 3-hour plus movie because it was the only time I could go see it. And dude.
So here's my question about the 3D. Does it feel like Kate Winslet's boob is going to poke you in the eye?
Actually, when that scene was coming up, I did think like, oh, I wonder if she ever imagined that like someday there would be like this, not only this scene, the world over experiencing this, but like in 3 dimensions, But It was, dude, I love this movie so much. Like as soon as it started, I hadn't seen it in years, but I was just transported, like in so many ways. I mean, I got completely reimmersed in the story. I love the characters. I think it's amazing, the ending, you know, all I mean, the whole point of the movie basically is, yeah, you've heard about this, and maybe you're like, oh, that's that boat that sank. You know, like as the treasure hunters at the beginning callously sort of say to that woman, like, oh yeah, you know, it fell and its ass is hanging in the air, big ass, like the boat sinks and da 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 da. And the woman's like, well, I remember it differently. And I just think this movie perfectly then transports you to this boat. Like using these two characters, you get to go to all the decks, see all the people who are on board. And then when the action happens at the end, I don't think it's sensational. I think it feels exciting but dire, and you are with people you care about, and watching them experience this thing, you get a whole new appreciation for this actual historical event. Like, and when it was over, I was just like, magnificent. I just loved it. So and the 3D was really good. The thing that most trips me out about 3D movies, because with Scream 6, by the way, I saw in 3D on accident. Actually, I didn't realize I was going to a 3D
I didn't even
screen.
know it was in 3D.
I didn't either. We picked a time and it happened to be a 3D screening. But what did I see? Oh, an Avatar 2 recently. But the thing that gets me the most is you can make people's heads, you know, if you're doing an over the shoulder shot, you can see, oh, this guy's shoulder's closer to me, this guy's head's over there. But when they take like water, like a surface, like the ground, and somehow make it feel like the ground is stretching out in front of me, I don't know how they do it. I mean, it looks amazing. And bad 3D for me, I just feel like it's putting me at a distance from the action. I feel like I'm a huge frame guy. Like I'm looking at all four corners of the frame the whole time. Like, what exactly did they want in this frame? I think a lot about it when I'm watching a movie. So I also think about dimensions. Like, why did you pick this lens? Like, why did you want me not to focus on the background of the scene? You know? And so sometimes futzing with that with 3D, then it almost becomes like a play. You know, like it's just a bunch of things in different layers. For me personally, that's how I experience it. And somehow, like Titanic and even Scream did a good job of it. It didn't do that because it wasn't distracting. It just kind of made everything pop a little more and just immersed you. And
you knew that James Cameron was not going to let them ruin the 3D in Titanic.
You know what's funny as you say that? It makes me think, yeah, I mean, obviously, if any decision is being made about his movie, if it's being released in any sort of new way, he's seen it. He's approved it. He's probably been like, get out of that chair, I'll do it. You know, and like mess with the stereoscopic, whatever it is. And I think that's, you know, sometimes it annoys you, but he just kind of is good at everything. And so, whereas some people might have taken it too far, and then it becomes more of a dazzle, whoa, look at that kind of thing. But he's like, no, I want you to be paying attention to the story, but I'm going to do it just enough to make it feel a little bit more immersive for you. Like he knows how to dial it in just right. And it's a bummer I'm saying it now because I think it's gone. But if it comes back, I highly recommend it. Even if you haven't seen if you haven't seen it in a while, it holds up. So
I saw it about 5 years ago.
Yeah,
for the 20th anniversary, not in the theater. I just watched it, and then I met Kate Winslet the next day.
Oh wow!
Yeah, which is cool. I get to talk about that. But I wanted to see it in theaters. I wanted to go with my wife, but I mean, it's just like, how do we carve out, you know, like 3.5 hours?
3.5 hours driving to the theater, 20 minutes plus of previews. It's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, like I said, I could the only time I could make it work was the last day of release at 10 at night. So it wasn't easy. I can't even imagine for you. So yeah.
Yeah. So my understanding is it is still in some theaters, but it's not in our AMC anymore. So
yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah. But speaking of, just because you mentioned her, Kate Winslet, that's another thing too, where you're like, man, she is just so good. Like them together, the movie doesn't work if you don't like them together, if you're not giddy along with them going through this thing. And you're like, wow, DiCaprio's DiCaprio. We already knew who he was at the time. And he was a rising star at the time, but it's just like, man, she is so perfect. Like you just really, really love her and root for her to get out of her situation and to find her freedom. And yeah, it's like I'd forgotten how much I love her in that movie.
I remember at the time, I'm talking like contemporaneous to its release, talking with Sean about it and him saying how like, I've never believed as much like in a couple, like being in love with each other.
Totally. And I people have said like, well, they never would have worked. Maybe, we'll never know. But like in that situation, what they were experiencing, what she was exiting something intense, and I believed their connection through that limited experience. And that's all that matters for this story,
Well, and just to add to that, I think the brilliance of the story construction is that Jack and Rose are a vehicle for us to know all these other characters.
Yes.
Right. So we feel Fabrizio's death. We feel what happens to Mr. Murdoch. We feel about the captain.
Mm-hmm.
And,
he's so good.
He's great, right?
Yeah.
That's King Theoden, for goodness sake.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you didn't know
it? No, I see it now. Yeah.
And then the Jeanette Goldstein as the like all the people, right? Because through them we go through the entire up and down of the ship.
Yes.
And so that's what gives us a clear. I mean, it sounds stupid the way I'm saying it, but like it's the brilliance of how James Cameron constructed the story, where we know everything that's happening because right up top you have a character being like, "So here's how it happened."
Yes.
So then when we get into it, it's like, "Oh, this is the part where this is this thing," and this.
Yes. But we're a whole different context for it.
Yeah.
Like now it's intense and extreme and sad and horrifying. The thing we already knew, like you said, we were already explained it, but now we get to experience it differently. Yeah, I just love it. I just love that movie. I think it's almost a miracle that it works like it does.
I mean, do you remember when like, and this is just the nature of these things, where it was so popular, and then there was the inevitable backlash against it.
Yeah, and I think that's why I keep saying even now, like I love it, like almost like in defense of it or something.
Yeah.
Because I remember that, yes, when something gets so big, then people just inevitably turn on it. And I remember Titanic being turned on, but I've always loved it. So I always felt like I had to couch me saying that I liked it.
Which is weird. You shouldn't have to, because it is a beloved movie and it's extremely successful. Right. I saw it 3 times when it came out.
I think I did too, actually, 3 times.
Yeah. So I'm certainly like, I don't owe it any more theatrical viewings, but I would have liked to get another one.
I gotta just say, just because, but
did you go by yourself or did you go with Federica, by the way?
She was out of town, so I went by myself. Oh, okay. I was sad. I missed her there. I would have been fun to have experienced it with her there, but so I'm watching the movie. Haven't seen it in the theater since 1997/98, right? And there was this moment, how like when you smell something and it takes you back, like, wow, grandpa's house, or like it transports you to like 20 years ago or 30 years ago, just like a scent. I had this moment at the end when Rose has been rescued and she's on the boat and she sees the Statue of Liberty, and seeing that image on a big screen, I felt in my body being transported back to Rice Lake Square Theater in Donata. Watching the movie, it brought me back to like being in high school. Like I just got that sensory sort of feeling in my chest or something. It was so like a time machine. It was crazy.
I definitely watched it at Rice Lake Square. That was my second viewing. You know what my first theater was that I saw it at?
AMC Cantera?
Close.
Oh, Stratford.
Yeah.
Our beloved Stratford.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
For those of you waiting, take your shot.
Yeah, there's the bingo.
But yeah, I remember for my second viewing, it was one of those things where I was at COD
Mhm.
and I was like, yeah, I don't feel like going to class. I feel like watching Titanic again. I just drove over there.
Oh, those are the days.
Those are the days.
College. You're like, wait, I don't have to go?
I don't have to. I don't have to be there.
I remember being at
Speaking
COD.
of,
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, you pulled me out of class. You were like, hey, I'm making this short film. Will you act in it for me? And I remember I had a class and I was like, sure. And I didn't go to this class and instead was in a field with you and this actress and you had a camera. And I remember thinking like, this is the life.
and that, I just showed that when I was visiting you, I watched that for the first time, probably since the 90s. And I showed that to my kids, and they were like not embarrassed. So I was pretty happy.
Really? Well, it's good. I like it.
I think it turned out pretty good. You know?
Yeah. I think it holds up.
It's an adaptation of An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge.
Yeah,
which is a short story by Ambrose Bierce, which turned into a short film, which was also an episode of The Twilight Zone. So I just did my like stripped down handy cam version of that.
Yeah, it looks great.
While we're talking about movies like Titanic, I wanted to talk about what I've seen recently, which is nothing like the movie Titanic. It's called Gotham Knights.
I can't recreate what happened off the air earlier, but I was basically like, what's that? And you're like, Brian, we have literally talked about this on the show before.
We discussed the trailer for this new series coming up on the CW. I was going to say the WB. But,
oh, that's funny. With the dancing frog.
Yeah, that doesn't exist anymore.
No.
The CW. This is the latest and possibly last DC Comics based TV series in a rather remarkable run when you think about it. About 18 years or something thereof.
Wow.
Right? From Smallville to Arrow to The Flash to you name it.
That's remarkable. I mean, that's amazing.
They've had quite a run, and so The Flash is winding down. It's currently in its final season. Superman and Lois is going on and may last another couple of years. And then you have this new show called Gotham Knights, which I don't know for certain, but it seems likely it will be the last DC show on this network for a while. And boy, talk about a wet fart of a thing to end this run.
Well, clearly I have no memory of it. So can you remind me why?
Well,
I'm pulling it up right now. Okay.
Batman is dead. Long live Batman's previously unseen adopted son.
This is coming back to me now. Yep. I'm looking at images.
So it's basically you smash your kind of CW teen soap tropes.
Yeah.
With whatever DC IP you got lying around.
Mm-hmm.
And you end up with this thing. And it's kind of, there's a video game just this past year that dropped called Gotham Knights.
Yeah.
And that's like Batman dies. And so now it's up to Nightwing and Batgirl and Tim Drake and Red Hood to take over. Well, this is a situation where I'm pretty certain it's like, well, we don't have access to any of those characters.
Right.
So it's like, here's this guy and that guy. And, so you have this like I said, heretofore unknown adopted son who's created for this show.
Yes.
Who's the lead.
This is all coming back to me now. Between this and looking at these images. Yes.
And it's weird, right? Because you're like, the show starts with Batman having been killed. He was shot and thrown out the window of his office building.
Dang. Like what's his name? The comedian?
Kind of like the comedian, yeah. And so he goes out like a punk, and right away that's my first thought. I'm like, well, is that really how Batman would go? I don't know. You know what I mean?
I'd rather it be more like Norberg from Naked Gun.
That's exactly. If you're gonna do it, that's what you do. Right. Oh no!
Oh no!
Gets the paint on it.
Yeah, a wedding cake.
The bear trap. So he died. Oh, and first of all, uh, I don't like this is meant to be like kind of just like a hodgepodge of different interpretations of Batman, right?
Mhm.
So you have the Joker's daughter, who's a character, but you also have Harvey Dent, who is still the district attorney. So
Hmm.
he's not Two-Face yet,
Hmm.
but Batman is already dead.
Right.
And and so on the one hand, I'm like, well, how hard do I want to be on this, right?
Sure.
Like I feel like I'm picking on a little kid almost, like
Right. Right.
but it's just like it feels like there this is I noted this in my review. I'm like, in the last 10 years we've gotten a TV show about Gotham City before Batman, a TV show about Batman's butler before Batman,
Yeah, isn't that
and a
the
TV
title
show.
literally? This is about Batman's butler before Batman.
that's that's what they changed the title to,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Pennyworth. And then Titans, which is Batman's sidekick after Batman, and now
Right.
here's Batman's son after Batman, right? And I'm like, all this shows is like you've got this Batman-sized hole,
Mm.
and you're just trying to work with whatever you have,
Is that because
Um,
they don't have the rights to use Batman or something?
I would assume that they're just trying to, yeah, they're trying to keep Batman specifically for
Films.
movies.
Yeah.
Even though, Brian, tell me if I'm wrong. Don't you think like a prestige streaming series about Batman would be almost better than doing a bunch of movies,
I would love it.
right?
Yeah. I could see the Pattinson kind of take being a cool series.
Totally. Well, I guess we're gonna see because they're
That's
doing
true.
the Penguin series, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, this I've seen the first 6 episodes of this, and it's just like, God, this is exhausting. Like it,
Well, so is it sort of like Riverdale with Robin or something, or what's the?
but it's not Robin. Well, there is a Robin. I mean, this is totally like, what characters do we have access to?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So they don't have any of the Robins other than Carrie Kelly, who's the Robin, the girl Robin from The Dark Knight Returns.
Right. Okay.
So they
Interesting.
use her, and she's like a side character. And then you have Stephanie Brown, who's a character called Spoiler in the comics, and they make her like the main character's name is Turner Hayes, by the way. Oh, and actually, her dad is played by Ethan Embry. I just recall.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Good. Good. You know what?
For him.
Officially from me, good.
Yeah, he plays a Batman villain called Cluemaster.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. It's just this weird thing. Like, I'm just like, look, I'm not interested enough in any of this to be hanging around in Gotham City without Batman.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Being wildly vague. We know a person who's working on a thing, and involves a lot of characters people are familiar with. And this person is finding, they want to include this character and that character, but there's just so much like red tape, right? Like they're tied up. Oh, well, this person can only appear in this, and that person cannot appear in this, but they can appear in video games, but they can't appear in that, and I'm sure they must be experiencing that kind of thing, right? It's like, well, who do we have?
It feels like that. It feels like the result of that. Now, and I will say this: Misha Collins, who plays Harvey Dent, I really like him.
Mm-hmm.
Does a great job with the character, and it's sort of like up in the air, like whether this Harvey will even become Two-Face. But I see him as like, if Aaron Eckhart's version maybe did the job a little bit longer, he would be kind of beaten down a little bit.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's sort of where he is here. And then the girl who plays the Joker's daughter, I thought she's really great. Olivia Rose Keegan, that's her name.
I'm sure that's a tricky role.
Yeah, it's because she's not a villain, but
she's
she's got these. So, like, you kind of don't know where she's at. So she's interesting. Unfortunately, the main character is just really dull. The actor's name is Oscar Morgan. I think he's doing what he can. But I'm just like, I don't care about you, kid. Sorry,
What do you think it is?
Well, I think the creators are like, oh, well, he's Bruce Wayne's son. So how can we not like him? I'm like, yeah, but I don't know this Bruce Wayne.
Right.
I don't know who you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and I'm like, this. It's not even a character that who has some comic book precedent
Hmm.
for us to be like, oh, but we like him from that. He's just a total a blank slate of a character, you know.
Man, that just sounds so intriguing. I mean, the Bruce Wayne's kid and the Joker's kid knowing each other, like,
Yeah,
yeah, that sounds ripe.
yeah. I think there was potential for something, but I am kind of done. And there was even that show Birds of Prey. Remember, like 20 years
I do
ago
remember
now.
that one.
There's
Yeah.
another one, you know.
Yeah.
Like that's Batman's daughter after Batman has died. It's like it's so transparent. We can't use Batman.
It's funny, yeah, because it's not like he's away. It's
Right.
like, no, he is not showing up.
Like even Batwoman, the TV series. That's I think Batman is dead in that. I think
Hmm.
or something.
Interesting.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's you know now that supposedly James Gunn is like pulling the reins on all this stuff and making everything unified.
Hmm.
I hope we get like any show. I hope there's motivation for it as part of some kind of broader story instead of just, oh, here's a thing with whatever table scraps we have lying around.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Actually,
wonder why that.
speaking of
Oh,
Gunn,
yeah.
by the way, did you hear he's doing? He's directing Superman, the new Superman movie, also.
I had not heard that. I mean, people were sort of wondering, right? Because he's writing it at the very
Yeah,
least, but so he will be directing it. Huh?
apparently, I mean that could be, based on what the scuttlebutt is right now.
Yeah. Well, isn't that funny? Because a couple of years ago, he directed the anti-Superman movie, right? Brightburn.
Well, he didn't direct it. I think he produced it, right?
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's but to that point, I think it's interesting that at some point Warner Brothers / DC was like, whatever, we can have Superman on TV and we can do a movie too, whatever. Like because there was the reason Smallville was what it was is because they said no, Superman is for movies,
Mm-hmm.
and at some point they just gave up the ghost with that.
Yeah.
Whereas with Batman, it feels like they've drawn a hard line in the sand because I don't know if you remember this way back in the day before Smallville, there was going to be a show called Bruce Wayne.
Not really.
we're talking like post Batman and Robin. So the movie franchise is kind of in a middle,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so the original, like what became Smallville, started out as a show called Bruce Wayne. That would be all about him going around the world and training, and then and I would imagine that the TV show Gotham probably pulled some of that concept.
Right. Right.
In fact, like the pitch, the initial pitch of the Bruce Wayne, I think there was a pilot script, and then there was like log lines for X number of episodes. And
Okay.
one of those episodes was called Smallville, and it was about like Bruce Wayne goes to Smallville and he meets this guy who's like always getting in his way, and and that's like the first meeting of Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne.
Right.
And the Bruce Wayne pilot didn't end up being filmed because Warner Brothers was like, no, we want to save Batman for movies.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, what about Smallville?
Huh.
And that's how small. And so like the guy who came up with the Bruce Wayne, and I forget his name, but he had that Smallville idea. And so when they went ahead with the series, he was like, hey guys, wait a minute, like it's my idea.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, did that person then get tapped to do that? So he had to make sure it didn't get taken away from him.
So he didn't like have any involvement, but he got paid like shut up money for every episode of that series.
Hey,
which I'll take it.
sure.
Right? And he's talked about it.
Yeah.
I think it's Tim McCanley's. I think it's the guy who wrote The Iron Giant. I believe he's the guy.
Oh wow.
And he's talking about it. He's like, yeah, like I have no, like, I don't get his on-screen credit, but I got paid for every single episode of that show.
Wow. Well, good.
Yeah, right.
You should.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that is kind of interesting. Just like when you think about it, the last time there was a Batman TV series starring Batman was, I think, the Adam West series.
Wow.
Right.
Amazing.
And yet there have been all these Batman adjacent shows.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that they're just like, no, we're not going to touch that.
And like even now, like that's what I find interesting. That
Yeah, I mean, now that you have your Superman shows and your major characters, yeah, but something about Batman. I wonder why.
And it makes sense.
Don't want to dilute it or something.
And it makes sense because it's clearly there's still an audience for it, and
And it feels like it's been a struggle to figure out Superman cinematically over this couple decades, right? So it's like, well, let's do something with him.
that's right.
I'm not one of those people that thinks he can't be a dad. I always hate when people say that. but for some reason, yeah, there was sort of a struggle until Man of Steel. But with Batman, he's been pretty consistent. I guess,
yeah. Like the gap between Batman and Robin and Batman Begins doesn't even seem like that much now.
Not now, yeah.
So here, Brian, I just pulled it. It was Tim McCanley's. So it's this is from Slash Film. He says, according to Tim McCanley's, it was his own pitch for the Bruce Wayne television series that inspired the creation of Smallville, even though Bruce Wayne itself never got made. And this is the quote: Smallville sort of came as a result of my thing. Smallville was sort of a long story, and I'm under a little bit of a non-disclosure agreement with Warner Brothers because of various things. Smallville started out as a backdoor pilot in the Bruce Wayne Bible. The idea was always to do a Smallville pilot.
So it was always there.
Yeah.
That was a setup.
So listen to this. I guess I can say this much. I told them what Smallville should not be is a Dawson's Creek-esque 23-year-old underwear model preening and pretending to be in high school. And they said, that's exactly what we want to do. And that's exactly what they did.
And then a check came.
Yeah,
I went for a walk every Wednesday night at 8:00.
That's right.
And kept the TV off.
I mean, that show lasted for 10 years, right? So
yeah, it was good, right? I mean, you liked it. I thought.
I like it. I mean, it is what he describes. That's that.
Yeah, sure,
sure. I mean, when the show started, it's 2001, right? Tom Welling was older than me.
Wow.
And I was, I was like about to enter my last year of college. And he's playing like a high school sophomore.
Right.
So I mean, he's not wrong about that. It's a little bit.
Remember the Wonder Woman pilot, by the way? Sorry,
with
just thinking of DC
with what's her name?
Adrian Palicki.
Adrian Palicki, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was, and you can find that on the internet.
Carrie Elways was in that.
Yeah, David E. Kelly. I think made it.
No, and Pedro Pascal is in that.
Is he really?
He is.
Oh,
and then he went on to be the villain in Wonder Woman 2.
Yeah. Wow. Huh.
I remember. I mean, I wasn't blown away by that pilot, but I remember not hating it either. I was just kind of like, all right, well.
Same, kind of same. I don't know that it's something I would have watched regularly, but yeah.
What a weird time.
Yeah. Sorry, I think I cut you off.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Gotham Knights. Yeah, it's crap.
Yeah. Wait, are you reviewing it?
I do. I have. I guess I can say it here. I am doing TV reviews for The Wrap.
Hey,
and, this will be my very first review for them.
Fantastic.
So that's
great.
That's very exciting. That's a website that I'm a big fan of. So it's super cool to be associated with them.
Cool. Well, I'll be like, actually won't do this now, so people won't think it's me. I'll be in the comments being like, love the reviews.
No, just be like first.
Yes. Yes, that's what I'll do. Even when I'm not.
You're like 38th. First. Let's take a short break and then we'll come back. We got some listener letters, Brian. And we are back. And hey, Brian, we got some listener letters.
Great.
This is exciting. I'm not saying this ironically. Every single time I see somebody has sent us something, and these letters are always like so thoughtful and like in depth, Yeah,
and that's the thing too, is I know there are things that I enjoy and I care about, but I don't always take the time to put pen to paper and let those people know that. And so
I don't even tell my kids I love them.
and they're there all the time.
Exactly.
But no, I mean, getting these notes, it never, ever is not special and doesn't sort of stop me in my tracks and make me think like, wow, I'm so surprised to read something like this. And also, man, am I glad they took the time to say that. We read everything and it means a lot.
Well, with that, so this is a letter we got from Alex Naom, who says, and this is appropriate because we're going to be talking about this in just a couple minutes. Having never seen the Creed films before these past couple weeks, I've delved into this part of the series to prepare for the third one. I got to say, these films set the bar phenomenally high for legacy sequels. When I think about how much they reference to and rely on your knowledge of the previous films, they really have no right being as great as they are. I've just listened to your Creed 2 episode and totally agree that Rocky is incorporated superbly into these stories without being overbearing or stealing the spotlight. Tessa Thompson is a great life partner for Michael B. Jordan. Her performance and the writing thankfully avoid the nagging woman trope that it so easily could have fallen into. I haven't seen any of the trailers for Creed 3 and don't plan to. I'm so pumped for it. I think I may even go for a walk, nay, a brisk walk, just to get the adrenaline pumping. Before I do go for that exhaustive workout, I should reiterate that you two are an absolute joy to listen to. You're like a modern-day Siskel and Ebert of podcasters, only you agree more often than they do. Well, nobody's brought up Benji the Hunted yet, so
that's right.
Nevertheless, it is super enjoyable to listen to all your episodes. You bring a much-needed ray of sunshine and a sense of positivity into the increasingly cynical modern landscape of film discussion. Godspeed, gents, your pal in perpetuity, Alex.
Dude, Alex, thank you so much. That means a lot.
Right? That's just, I mean, what do you even say to that?
I know.
But I totally agree about the Creed films, and we'll be having a more in-depth, like I said, in just a couple minutes. But I think definitely we have enough legacy series now, and enough time has gone by that you can definitely point to Creed as being like, well, that one is doing it right.
Totally agree.
Here's another note we got from Josh Hopman, who says, hey guys, I've just started listening to you this past month and have been binging episodes from last year to the present and have been really enjoying it. I love the optimism and overall lack of cynicism that I've found in most of film podcasts / reviewers. Your joy for films is affectatious, and I find myself wanting to watch more films every time I listen to an episode. And hey, Brian, look at this. And I can't remember what episode Zaki recommended this movie, but I just watched The Kid Detective, and wowza! That film blew me away, both in story and the way they handle tonal shifts from deadpan humor to serious emotion. In 1 second, I was laughing out loud at the dry humor, and the next second, tearing up from the complex emotional situations the filmmakers threw at me. I was equally impressed by how much the film style emanates exactly what the character was feeling, bright colors to dark colors as his emotion changes, etc. Thanks for the recommendation. I think I'm going to trust your recommendations from now on. A new fan, Josh. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Josh.
And then he followed up actually. He says, I also totally forgot to ask this previously, but have you guys seen the movie Searching? I think you have, Brian.
Yeah. I just talked about it not long ago, so he might not have heard that yet.
And that's the one that the sequel just came out, right?
Missing. Yeah, which I just through weird circumstances, I found out I actually had a copy of Searching here at my place. And so I popped it in. And man, I really liked that movie. That movie just grabbed me and dragged me along for a crazy ride. And I thought, what I said was, it has this crazy conceit where you are never really in the real world. You're experiencing an entire story about a guy whose daughter's kidnapped and him trying to find her through computer screens, phone screens, FaceTime, emails, text alerts. And, you could imagine pitching that to someone and them going, great. And you get like a pretty good movie, hopefully. But what I thought made it really work was the story is totally compelling and interesting, and you really want to know what's going on. And two, having those conceits, they like milk them for all they're worth. Like they think of every conceivable, interesting way they can take that format and make it interesting and related to the story and still come up with feelings of dread or like feelings of excitement. Like I was like, it's the perfectly realized version of that idea of storytelling through a computer screen. So I was a big fan.
Do you think, well, and you said you haven't seen the second one.
No, I missed it. That was one of those ones that I wanted to see in theaters, but I think it's going to be streaming this month.
See, I'm curious, and admittedly, I haven't watched the first one. I know you recommended it to me, but after you watch the second one, I'm curious if you will feel like they've done everything they can with this format.
Like what's left?
Like what's left, exactly, yeah.
You know, I can see that's possible, but really, I think as long as the story is not repetitive, if the story itself is interesting. I saw the trailer for it a couple months ago, and I remember thinking, because I had not seen the first one at that point, and I was like, well, what happened? Like I was hooked. So I don't know. Have you seen
the third one? The third one should just be called Pissing, and it's a guy sitting on the pot on his phone,
scrolling through
90 minutes.
Yeah,
I'd watch it.
Yeah, me too. Probably. It's kind of my life. So I mean, just scrolling, playing Wordle, and looking up Tom Petty's birthday on Wikipedia. I feel like I heard that somewhere. I got to credit that. I feel like I heard someone joke about that once.
Looking up Tom Petty's birthday?
Yeah, as like an example of something that you do now because nothing is a mystery anymore.
As we're just talking about birthdays, I saw a Family Guy recently where it's like where Brian is hanging out with Stewie, and Brian's like, oh, sorry I couldn't make it to this thing. I was actually at Spiro Agnew's birthday. Boy, I'll never forget it. And then, like, later in the course of the episode, Stewie looks up Brian's Google search history, and like top of line is Spiro Agnew's birthday.
That is hilarious.
And Stewie's like, "Why did you think that would impress me?"
Family Guy, like it or not, love it or whatever, hate it. That's the humor they excel at. That weird human stuff. That we all kind of feel and experience. They really nail those smaller sorts of things that I feel like, wow, I feel that, but I've never expressed it or thought it, out loud. Like I love those kinds of jokes.
It's funny because I told you, right? I'm watching the Bond movies with my second kid, and whenever we reach the point in the movie where somebody says the title, he'll be like, he said it.
You're right. And that's why I must become Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
The Quest for Peace. No, he says, oh, so that's why they called it that.
Yeah.
And by the way, we just watched For Your Eyes Only.
Oh, wow. Okay, I got to catch up.
I know. Well, it's funny because we watched Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker. And I was like, well, we got to watch For Your Eyes Only, and we're going to do Moonraker. And then he was like, Miku was like, well, he did Live and Let Die and The Man with the Golden Gun, right? Like, shouldn't we watch those? I was like, I'm more than happy to watch those.
Yeah.
So I think we're like dug in on Roger Moore now.
That's great. How fun.
I'm really enjoying these. The For Your Eyes Only is actually, I think it's one of the best ones just in general. But especially for Moore, because it is a little bit darker. Mm-hmm. And we were halfway through it, and then the actor Topal died, who plays James Bond's ally in that movie, and I was like, wow, and he was in Flash Gordon, right?
I have not.
I know we've had this conversation.
We have. I know you've. It's funny you say that because you recommended it not that long ago, and then my coworkers, we watch movies sometimes together in like this screening room at the office or whatever, and they chose to watch Flash Gordon, and I got sick that day, and I was like, oh man, like it was just so perfectly aligned, and it just didn't work out.
And just to clarify, I recommend it not because it's necessarily good, but I think it's unlike anything really,
Mm-hmm.
On kind of a Dick Tracy level,
Yeah, well, I love Dick Tracy, so
yeah. So I think what Dick Tracy was for us, Flash Gordon was literally 10 years earlier.
Right.
So
wow, it feels like it should be a bigger divide, doesn't it?
Yeah, weird, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, Topal, he played Dr. Zarkov in that movie.
I see.
I was actually this week. Robert Blake died.
That's right.
He of Beretta and Our Gang and
Lost Highway.
And wife murdering.
Yeah.
That thing. But it's really random because
By the way, I felt like that was not enough of a reaction for what you just said. I'm like, yeah, like no, awful, awful. Yeah.
That's a thing that happened.
Yeah.
But I was in bed and just kind of lost in my thoughts, and just randomly I'm like, I wonder if Robert Blake is still alive. I don't know. I'm not making this up. That was my thought. And then the next day, literally that afternoon, I get a push notification. Robert Blake has died.
That's crazy.
By hand to God, that's what actually happened.
Wow. What did you do? Did you go like, whoops?
I kind of had that moment where I was like, you know. I don't even know. I was trying to trace the various dominoes that led to me even wondering that.
Yeah. Put them on your mind, yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea. But anyway, Robert Blake. I think we're all out of Our Gang kids. I think the deck might be cleared. I'm not sure.
Wait a minute. That did not process when you said that. I just thought you were naming an old movie I had not heard of. He was in Our Gang?
Yeah.
Who was he?
He was he was not Buckwheat.
Right.
We know that. He was
process of elimination. Yeah. Was he Froggy? Like what?
He was not Froggy. He was Smelly, you know?
Yeah, right. He's the one that Mo Sizlak almost killed.
He was Mickey.
Mickey.
Yeah, who the hell's Mickey? I don't know.
It's been a while since I've seen him.
I know Spanky, Darla, Alfalfa,
yeah,
Buckwheat, and Froggy. That's about it.
Yeah, same. I think that's about it for me too.
And let's also acknowledge that while the Our Gang cast is rapidly leaving the stage, I think you and I may be the last generation of people who can have a conversation about, hey, which Our Gang character was that?
It's very true. That's very true.
Let's pour one out for conversations like the one we just had.
So true.
Right? Like I remember being in grade school and I had an Alfalfa t-shirt.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So it's not like you were just watching it before school or something, but there was merchandise to our generation for these like 1930s shorts.
Yeah, and people could look at my shirt and be like, "Oh, Alfalfa."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
With a glint of awareness in their eye.
Yeah. You know, random fact, by the way, as long as we're talking about it, I don't know his real name, but the actor who played Alfalfa, he's the guy in It's a Wonderful Life who's mad at George Bailey at the dance and pushes the button to open the gymnasium floor.
Wow.
Yeah, when you see him, you're like, holy crap, that is Alfalfa.
So that would have been how long after?
That was like 45 or 6 or 46 maybe, like right after the war.
When were the Our Gang shorts?
I'm making this up, but I'm assuming like 33 or 5 or something.
So you're looking at about 10 years. That's what I was thinking. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so random.
Yeah.
Yeah, he died like in some weird way.
I remember there was like, remember A Current Affair? Like that show that'd be on when you get home from school, and it was just like
that was not the Bill O'Reilly show.
No,
was it? Oh, maybe it was
hard copy. I don't know. They're all
Bill
kind
O'Reilly was A Current Affair, I think.
Okay, yeah, but
We'll Do It Live. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh yes. Right, you're right. But it was like these weird. It's hard to explain that show, but it was like these sensational, kind of creepy stories.
I'll tell you. It's the Homer Simpson sexual harassment episode.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, like they mimic that show in that episode. Yeah. But I was going to say, I just remember a lot of the stories were either like it was about UFOs or like something terrible that happened to one of the Little Rascal actors. That's like
sometimes those intersected. You had a alien abduction of Spanky.
Right. Yeah. I kind of remember. I'm having this like weird. Sorry, we're going down this road, guys. I'm so sorry to the listeners, but like I remember
Spanky's rectal probe after these messages.
Well, you kind of, but I remember Spanky being interviewed defending one of the other little rascals, being like, John St. John was a saint, like kind of a thing, like he would never, kind of a thing defending.
Imagine being 7 years old, right? And you did a thing with a couple other 7, 8. There's a 6-year-old there, maybe there's an 8-year-old. You did this thing for a year, and then you go off and you live your life. And for the rest of your life, you are hogtied to whatever stupid shit those assholes do.
Right. Yeah.
So here's whatever Robert Spanky McFarlane. He's
it's got a comment on some kid he barely knew when he was 8. Yeah.
What do you think about what Froggy did there when he they caught him molesting that dog, and he's like, look, I haven't seen Froggy in decades. I don't know what he's doing or with which animals,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're so right. Oh man, and that was like pre-Wizard of Oz. So I mean, imagine the uppers.
I should say this. I completely. I was just making up a name for Spanky.
Yes,
but his name is George Robert Phillips McFarland.
Ah,
I had no idea.
That's kind of amazing.
I was just making up a name. Wow.
Actually, with you, I wonder if it was somewhere in that Rolodex.
Probably.
Buried. You're so good at that. You have all those names cataloged.
I know Spanky's last name from our gang, but I could not tell you all of my kids' birthdays.
Actually, just this week, Federica was on a business trip up in Seattle, and out of the blue, she's like, what's the name of that Arnold Schwarzenegger character from The Simpsons? And like, I mean, less than 3 seconds later, I'm like, Rainier Wolfcastle. He played a guy named McBain. And then I wrote back after that, I don't even know my parents' phone number.
Well, nostalgia is a wonderful thing.
Look at us.
Actually,
I want to say before we move on. Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, Josh brought up Searching, but he didn't say if he watched it. So if he did, I want to know what he thought about it. So I was just going to throw that out there.
He said it's shot in a unique style and has recently become one of my all-time favorite thrillers/dramas.
Now, see, that's why you scroll down, kids. I'm sorry, Josh. Well, I agree.
He goes on to say, Brian will probably assume I haven't seen it. Ask him to scroll down. It's all right there, Brian. I got to say.
He's a precog, yeah.
You're embarrassing yourself at this point.
Yeah.
We're talking about nostalgia. I just thought this is an interesting thing to bring up, which is Jon Favreau was asked recently. Jon Favreau, you may have heard of him, Brian.
I'm familiar with his work.
He plays one Harold Happy Hogan in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't just do that. He's also in charge of The Mandalorian.
Which is wild. The guy from Swingers, like making his scrappy indie movie in the late 90s. And look at that. Now he's like, got set the Marvel universe up, and now he's taking care of the Star Wars universe. It's crazy.
Now, are you caught up on The Mandalorian?
No, there's 2 so far, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So no, I need to watch those. You?
I have not seen either of them.
Yeah. Actually, I feel like I haven't seen a lot of advertising or for it. I saw a billboard the other night.
Yeah, understated, I would say.
I don't understand why. Yeah. But
this is what happens, when a show's around long enough, it stops being special.
Yeah, or it's like, yeah, it's back. Whereas when it's debuting, there's a lot of fanfare or something, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm not interested, but for me, I have to try to wrangle all my kids who all want to watch it. So
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
That's challenging nowadays, especially because all of them are doing various things.
Yeah, it's one thing trying to make sure you and your significant other can see something together, but then when you have so many, like family members that all want to watch the same thing, that must be a lot of, like you say, wrangling.
It's and these just because they're in Boy Scouts. My oldest, he's on the golf team.
Ah, cool.
Which is fun. That's he's got a hell of a swing. This guy.
That's awesome.
So he's doing that, and then he's on. My oldest, actually, he's committed to like 18 different things, which I'm glad about. But I'm also like, he's going to go nuts because it's just too much.
Hmm.
But just
It's
trying
so
to get
the opposite of me. So there's like something about that I'm like fascinated and admire.
I'm with you, because certainly when I was a sophomore in high school, I was on the newspaper, but my whole level of commitment was, let me get my stuff done so I can go home and sleep.
Right.
So everything was balanced against my desire to sleep. And
Right.
he's like, every day he's got the golf team, he's got Boy Scout meetings. I mean, it's crazy. So all these kids are
Amazing.
doing this. So just trying to get everybody in the same room to watch an episode of The Mandalorian, which, let's face it, is probably about 25 minutes once you edit out the credits. I'm finding it challenging. But regardless, Jon Favreau is out talking it up. And in an interview with Movie TV, he was asked if he had enough clout to get the original theatrical versions of Star Wars released.
Mm-hmm.
I found his answer interesting, because I think I actually agree with it, which might be a controversial position. He says, do you think anybody but us, like the people who grew up with it, like anybody would care? Because I know to younger people, that's what I figured out, is that the younger people have a whole different perception of what Star Wars is. Each generation, for the millennials, it's the prequels, and for younger people, Zoomers, sometimes it's the Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
and I just found this interesting, because at this point, the original versions have been out of circulation for 27 years.
Wild.
26 years. 26 years.
Wild.
Right? So in
Yeah.
other words, the OG versions were only around for 20 years. Right? Now you can seek them out. I mean, they're out there, but I mean, how many people do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know there are the despecialized editions, right, where people have, through, using the Blu-rays, but also using 35 millimeter prints they've acquired, blah, 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 blah. They've used, special techniques on their computers to basically create HD versions of the movies as they were originally, put together in 77, 80, and 83. And I actually did buy them because just out of curiosity, I got them off of eBay, and they're pretty impressive. But it almost became this sort of, not like a rallying cry, but it was sort of like, well, that was the thing that was presented to me, and it should live, it should still exist. And so, you carried that flag for a while, but I have to admit, now I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at, right? Like I'm looking at it from the perspective of my kids, and obviously not everybody listening is a parent, but certainly, like, for them, the only Star Wars they've ever known is not even the original, the original special editions. It's the 2011,
Yep.
whatever came out on the the Blu-ray set, right?
Can you imagine if they saw the original Cloud City and they're like, where are all the windows?
Well, that's my point.
Yeah.
I mean, that like, because they have seen, like, the original version of the Emperor in
right.
Empire Strikes Back,
Right.
And my kids are like, the hell is that?
Yeah.
Right? And they're not wrong for thinking that. Like, see, that's the thing I'm trying to underscore, right? It's like they have their experience with Star Wars, which is this en toto thing, right? So it's at the very least, it's episodes 1 through 6. We experienced it in a different way, and that experience is important and valuable, and the memory is never going away. But, like, this, fundamentally, what Favreau is saying is, like, is there a big enough audience for Disney to presumably put money into restoring those original cuts? And I would offer probably not.
I agree. And as years go by, it'll be less and less and less. I will say maybe there's something to historical significance of them at least being preserved. But,
Well, I was talking on Twitter with Matthew Malecki, who I posted about this, and he was making the point, like, why not release it? And I said, I wonder, I don't know, like, if Disney could put them out, I feel like they would have.
For like a cash grab kind of Like,
Yeah, I
why
mean, it's
not
like
if
leaving
there's money on the
leaving
table?
money on the table, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if, in fact, because this has been talked about, like that Lucas made it a condition of the sale that you
Mm,
cannot under any or either he said you can't release it, or simply they don't exist anymore in a
mm.
releasable form.
Right.
I
Right.
do wonder about that because yeah, I do really feel like we're now 11 years coming up on 11 years after the Disney sale. You're telling me that if the opportunity presented, they wouldn't have put those out in some form,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
you
But
know?
yeah, like you say, as the time goes on and people's eyes get used to a certain sort of level,
Yeah.
of execution with special effects and those sorts of things, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's now more for those sort of collector types, the
Yeah. I mean, just to echo what you're saying, as a historical, like I think they should, like, why not? I'm not opposed to it, but I'm
Mhm.
also like, I'm not losing sleep over it either.
Same. Yeah.
Now that being said, Brian, I think you'd be fit to be tied if the only version of ET available was the one with the walkie talkies instead of the shotguns.
That is very true. That is very true. And there's like those extra scenes in there that, I was like,
With
whatever,
like the
like with ET in
CGI
the
ET.
bathtub and all that. Yeah. It's funny you bring that up, actually. I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I started getting curious about that because I couldn't remember the extra scenes. And so I went on YouTube and someone made a compilation of all the revisions, so yeah, ET's sort of, and the problem was with that one. Sorry, this isn't what you asked.
Oh,
But like ET, I can understand pushing maybe his eyes or like his brow or certain sort of things for a little more expressiveness. But the problem was they made him move like a Disney character. So he stopped moving like the physics of a real person, so he'd kind of and he'd like buckle backwards and shrug his shoulders, and it was like, well, that's just weird. Like that doesn't fit in this reality anymore. So it almost went too far. But yes,
it's it,
that would suck if that was the only one that was still around.
and Spielberg acknowledged that, which is why he put that alternate version in the memory hole.
Yep.
But I almost feel like, well, we should make that version available now as a historical document.
I still have the DVD. I was actually going through things that I was going to donate, and I saw that, and I
Label
was
it
like,
the
well, this is
Spielberg's Folly edition.
yeah. But I was like, no, I can't get rid of this. I mean, this is
I screened earlier this week. I screened Alien in my class.
mm,
I was doing a lesson about mise en scène, and I was like, oh, well, this is a
mm,
perfect film to talk about that.
yeah.
And it was so cool because I would say less than a quarter of the class had seen Alien before.
Oh,
And we're talking about a class of like 50 people, so it was like a virtually untapped audience, and it was so cool. I was sitting in the back and you hear him, and
that's great.
that stuff, and
Yeah,
I'm watching this thing and I'm like, God damn, this movie just holds up. Like, it has not aged,
I know. Yeah,
you know
it's amazing.
uh, and I noticed it. I don't know how I didn't notice it earlier, but like some of the creature effects, the mechanics was by Carlo Rambaldi.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. We give Giger credit for coming up with the creature,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but obviously they had to come up with they had to engineer the thing.
Right. Right.
But it's a great movie. It was cool to experience it like that. So
That's so fun. You get to see that through like a new generation's eyes for the first time.
it's with this group especially because I watched Memento 2 weeks earlier,
Mm.
and kind of the same drill. Like the Memento is the Christopher Nolan movie that most people have not seen.
Mm-hmm.
I say probably Memento and Insomnia are like the ones.
Yeah, or following. I mean, if we're being
Following for sure, like
Yeah.
that. But like. So kind of like seeing them react and kind of get like the urtext of Christopher Nolan, where you watch Memento and you're suddenly every other thing he's done makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You see his very specific fixations.
Yeah. Yeah. I
He
need to watch that
when I
again.
was visiting you, I showed you this like he drew on a chalkboard.
Yes.
This is about Memento, right? And it's like somebody's like, this is like when he was first breaking out. So he's, now he's like, well, what do you think about the movie?
Yeah,
He's like
yeah, yeah.
Mr. He's all like completely, it doesn't say anything. But here it's like, hey, can you like draw it on a chalkboard? He's like, oh, yeah, sure. Here you go.
Yeah,
This
the
plot
story
point
structure of
here.
Memento is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he draws the hairpin and, where the forward and the backward and everything. And I'm like, can you imagine like at that age, he's like in his early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
He has no reason to think he'll one day be a brand in and unto himself,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, I've said this on the show before, I think already, but I think of this story a lot, especially for people who are like need to keep plugging away and keep going and feeling like, will this ever happen? But I read that best movie year ever, for about 1999.
I told you about that.
Yeah, it's a fantastic book, and it was talking about the Blair Witch Project. I think it was Blair Witch, something that debuted at Sundance and was a huge hit, and it was like the runaway hit of the festival. And a journalist met this glum-looking person on a shuttle, and it turns out everyone was talking about Blair Witch, and no one was turning up to watch his film. And it was Christopher Nolan and Following.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? And it's like, if that guy had any idea what lay ahead, like in that moment, he felt like it's not going to work. It didn't happen. I made my movie and it didn't happen, but it was all ahead of him. Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing.
Well, let's take another short break and ponder what Brian has just said. And we are back. And hey, you know who else is back, Brian?
Who's that?
Why, it's world heavyweight champion Adonis Creed.
Wait, that's right. That is
in Creed 3.
I didn't know who you were going to say because there's a lot of people back.
That is true. Yeah, it's catch as catch can. Yeah. We are now 3 movies deep into the Creed franchise. Right? It just feels like a couple weeks ago that you and I were talking quite fondly about Creed number 1.
Yep.
Which they just called Creed because they weren't presumptuous enough to think
Creed number 1. That would be really funny.
It's like what is that? Loaded Weapon
Leonard
1.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I guess Leonard Part 6. I guess that would work too.
Well, that doesn't make sense. Actually, you're right. No, Loaded Weapon 1 makes more sense. What you're saying.
It's nothing like Leonard Part 6, Brian. Why, it's Creed 3.
That's true. That is true.
So this one, it's doing pretty well. It's looking at $150 million at the domestic box office through its second weekend.
That is really impressive.
Not too shabby.
I saw it in its second week at a theater at 9:30, basically at night last night, and it was hard to get a seat.
Really?
So it's it's killing. It's great.
Well, let's talk about this. Now we have in the past talked not only about the previous 2 Creed movies, but of course the Rocky films. Anyone listening knows I am a huge fan of the Rocky movies. Brian hates them because he's a communist.
Yeah, I thought Rocky IV was a tragedy.
He's like, what's this propaganda?
Yeah.
No.
Unity? Ha!
Maybe I don't want to change.
Yeah.
No, of course, Brian is a fan of the Rocky films.
Yep.
But this is now the 9th film in that overall, I guess we would say, universe. But
wow.
First time out without Rocky himself.
Yeah.
So this is now fully a Michael B. Jordan joint, up to and including him directing the movie. And before we even get into the whys and wherefores, I can't think of a recent example of a first-time director making as confident a mark on a major franchise like this. I was very, very impressed with how it was a big scale production, but it felt very personal.
Yeah,
and I think Michael B. Jordan. He has grown up in this industry. He's certainly been exposed to Ryan Coogler and Destin Cretton and all these other great directors, and I think he's internalized a lot of good lessons.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And if he's the guy who is calling the shots for these movies moving forward, I would have no problem with that whatsoever.
Yeah, I was thinking about it as I was watching it. It sort of melted away eventually, but when the movie starts, basically, these kids and sneaking out and everything, I was like, I dig this. Like this really, it had like a style to it, but it wasn't very showy. And I was like, this is confident. This is really good. And then, of course, you got to deal with like fights and all sorts of interesting things. And I thought he made some really interesting choices that just felt different. I mean, when you have 9 of these movies, you've got to make these fights feel like their own thing. And how do you continue to do that? And I thought he made some interesting decisions. And yeah, very, very great, confident directorial debut.
So let's talk about it. We are now in the real world. We are 5 years removed from Creed 2, which nicely wrapped a bow around the remaining plot threads from Rocky 4. I think to a large extent, assuming things continue the way they are, it is very likely the final appearance of Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, could be.
Possibly, which I would be okay with, by the way. But 5 years on, and I think it's 3 years of story time in the film, we join Adonis Creed where Rocky is in Rocky 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's comfortable, he's got a nice house, living in LA. Rocky wasn't living in LA, but he's rich and
he's got like his mansion, yeah.
And the central dilemma of these films, Rocky went through it too, is it gets harder to justify the main guy getting into a ring and getting the shit knocked out of him.
Yes. Why does he need to do that?
That's right.
Yeah. So and why do we care?
Why do we? Right. So the Rocky films, I certainly, Rocky 3 is meant to be like, okay, now he's retired. Rocky 4, they find a specific reason, and it gets after a while. And I think Creed is there now, where you sort of have to be like, okay, for what reason does he fight? Now, I think that the antagonist that they created, Dame Anderson, played by Jonathan Majors, who, gosh, this guy is just everywhere now.
Yeah.
First of all, I think one of the best opponents in all of the films, in my opinion.
I agree. Such a great idea.
Really. And what's so interesting to me is he felt like a merger of Clubber Lang, played by Mr. T, and Tommy Gunn.
Yes, 100%.
You put him in like a transporter, and they merged into this character. Like I think it's a Clubber Lang Tommy Gunn merger with just like bags of charisma poured on top, thanks to Jonathan Majors just being just an impossibly magnetic performer.
Yep.
Right. And I think this, going back to Michael B. Jordan as a director, I think one of his strengths that he showed is the willingness to let Jonathan Majors be so magnetic.
I had not appreciated that. I just accepted what the movie was, but you're so right. Yeah.
Because I think that's a big part of what makes it work. It's a delicate balance, because like when the movie starts, you know where it has to end up. Even if you haven't seen the trailers, you're like, well, it's a Rocky / Creed movie. We know the the movements, of the plot. But you're kind of like, man, I don't want these guys to be at odds with each other.
Yes.
And I think just the way the fight is woven into Adonis's story and his journey, his emotional journey, for me, I just found it very, very effective.
It's funny because we just kind of like leapt right in. I was gonna say, I really enjoyed this movie, but something that kept me, I would say, like, I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it, but something that kind of kept me from loving it was it to me, it sort of suffered from that thing where it feels like a 6-episode limited series was whittled down to 2 hours. You know what I mean? Because so much happens in this movie, very quickly.
I mean, it is jam packed, and I just I'm going to let you finish that, but it felt like, oh, we gotta get under 2 hours. And
Yeah,
I was like, give us 15 more minutes. Nobody's going to complain.
honestly, if this had been longer, I would have been fine with it, because I think the idea of him and his friend, I mean, the story basically being, right, like when they were younger, there were these friends who got into trouble, and, Adonis got away and got to have his life experience. And now he's this, millionaire, worldwide famous boxer. And the other person went to jail and had a completely different experience and just got out of jail. And, they couldn't have more opposite lives and experiences, but they are united through this childhood friendship, or youthful friendship, I should say. They're kind of like teens or whatever. But like, so then it's like them coming together, and Adonis is retired, and the other one, even though he's in like his middle 30s or something, is like, I want to be world champion, and like, and there's something just kind of off about this person. You know what I mean? Like there's still that connection, but there's also something slightly unhinged about them that makes them kind of interesting, because you're like, okay, yeah, I feel bad for what this person went through, and I want him to not miss out on being the best version of himself that he believed he could be. Like that's so compelling. And then like now Creed is gonna to help him, and I think so. For the first half of this movie, I was like so in. I think this is like a brilliant idea if you want to keep making, let's just call them Rocky films, like nine movies, Rocky films. But now you've kind of spun off in the Creed universe. This felt so singular and perfect for the Creed universe now, And I think the only thing that kind of tripped me up, and I won't say spoilery stuff, but was sort of in the middle. They wanted to get something kind of fast, and I was like, cool, okay, like let's do it. And then like when they have to figure out the fight at the end, it sort of felt like they yada getting to that fight. You know what I mean?
I know.
Like, am I wrong? Like, because on paper, I totally get it. But I felt like the movie really was like, look, we got to get, like, there's 20 minutes left. We've got to like get this. And I think the wife, Tessa Thompson even says something about like, well, the only way to stop him is to fight. And I was like, is it? Like, it is. But I think because it was just like, we got to go, let's do this. And so the final fight, I wish the movie had spent more time with their contentious adult experience. Like this character is sort of chipping away. I don't know, this isn't spoiler stuff, I think it's all in the trailer, but like he's kind of chipping away at Creed, and they've got beef, they've got issues. And Creed is threatened enough by whatever these things are to feel like he has to fight. But I almost kind of laughed when it was just like, well, got to fight him. And I was like, wait, why? Like, that's not going to solve. Like, because he's like, well, this guy could take everything away from me. I got to fight him. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, that room echoed as you said that because it's so big. You know what I mean? Like, Like, I don't think you stand to lose anything. And so, but I understand spiritually what he was saying. I just wish that the movie then, like you said, I could have gone an extra 20 minutes if we could have gotten some more scenes of these guys talking to one another and it really being like, oh, damn, like these friends, So
it's, I think taking a step backward, I don't disagree with what you're saying. What I would offer is, in terms of the rhythms of the franchise that it's within, it hits those beats.
It does. I could have, right? But I do feel like I could have used a little more meat leading up between them and what Damien was, the threat that Damien was to Creed's existence.
Well, I think,
and even just make it personal. You know what I mean? Like I just more personal attack. Like they have that call-in sports show and everything. And I was like, well, if you can't handle that, like, then you shouldn't be a public figure. You know what I mean? But like, you know what I'm saying?
I think when Creed is saying he's going to take everything away, I don't think it's literally in terms of his
no
possessions.
Of course.
I think it's
his name,
pride,
his rep. Yeah.
and his sense of self, right? Because essentially Damien shows up and he gets in Creed's head. He's like, if I hadn't gone to prison,
Yes.
you wouldn't be shit.
Which is the good stuff. This is, yes, exactly.
Right. So in essence, why is the fight quote unquote necessary? It's for Creed to prove to himself that he earned what he got.
Right.
Right. And by extension, to prove to Damien that he's worthy of respect.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so that dynamic, I just draw straight lines to Rocky 3 because it's a lot of the same stuff happening there.
Yeah.
Up to and including a close figure, to the main character leaving the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I literally turned to Am and I was like, "That's Mickey."
That's right. Yeah.
I was like, "Well, thank God Rocky's not in this movie." That was my other thought.
Right.
Well, let me talk about that real quick. Rocky not being in this movie, I did not feel his absence.
No, it felt natural. Like this is what Creed's going through right now. Like Rocky doesn't always have to be, so what's going on over here? Everything in his life.
Yeah. So like, would I have minded if like he got on the phone and was like, "Hey, Unc, like I'm going through something, help me out,"
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't have minded, but I had no problem the way they structured it. I do want to talk a little bit about what you were saying in terms of the relationship and how it's depicted between Dame and Adonis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there is just this sadness that
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Majors imbues the character with, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not rage, it's sadness. Like it's such a different level than like Clubber Lang,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and you sort of like you see that he's probably at a different place emotionally when he first shows up
Yeah.
versus where he's at by the time he does what he does that sort of prompts uh you know the fight to happen,
Right.
and I enjoyed sort of watching him go through this arc, and then there's that great shot which I'm sure you in when Damien his first fight and Adonis is not fighting, but it's like they're on opposite sides of like a wall.
Yes. Yes.
Right. And you look at that, you're like, Michael B. Jordan, you know what you're doing,
Yeah. Which I loved.
Right?
Yeah.
And then at the very end, without spoiling anything, we get an ending with the two opponents in a Rocky movie, unlike any we've ever gotten.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked that too.
Yeah.
Like after the fight, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so to me, I look at it, I'm like, it's like you've got a paint by numbers picture. The question is, what shades of those colors do you use?
Sure.
That's what makes it interesting. Like I like the structure and the like that's what we do in these movies.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we fighting again? Because look at what'd you buy a ticket for, right? Right. And so it's like what the way the final fight is staged. Well, Michael B. Jordan bringing his like anime fandom
Totally.
into play. I'm like, well, that's different. I like that.
I liked
we
it
do
too.
a little bit. We do a little bit of this at the end. Hey, I like that. That's a little different. So
Mm-hmm.
it's this weird. But I'm like, but you better give me my training montage.
Yes. Yeah.
You're damn right. I want to see you pulling a airplane or whatever you're doing. Like,
yeah. I was like, I want to run on a beach with a parachute on my back.
Right. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I think the first Creed is like a magical movie.
Yeah.
And it is, in essence, the first Rocky. Like, none of those other sequels will be what the first movie is. I don't even necessarily want that. But what I do want is a progression of this character that feels genuine and emotional and exhilarating. And I got to check all those boxes with Creed 3. So it's a thumb way up for me.
Yeah, and see, it's so funny because again, like thinking about it, I'm like, no, I liked it. I did like it because I really thought it was a great story. It was a great natural sequel to this story. I think I almost was sort of, as things sort of sped up quickly because it felt like they had to do what they had to do quickly at the end. Like I mean, we spent some time with him and his daughter, which is cute. Like she kind of has like a little story going on, but I'm like, I might have preferred to spend that time with one more scene between Creed and Damien or something, just to like really show. I mean, I know it's there. I don't know. Maybe if I watched it again, I would feel it more palpably. But I just felt like the last third or so just sped up so quickly that I was almost like, oh, like it almost felt like obligation or something, when I wanted to be like completely like emotionally. So the fight just felt sort of like, oh, okay, so we got to do the fight. But I'm like, I want to be like, who do I root for? Like really wrenched over watching that fight. And I think I was more just like, oh, okay, yeah, okay. And then, but I like the ending too. You know what I mean? Like when it got back to sort of the drama of it, maybe.
I think give us 10 more minutes. I think that would have licked that problem for you.
I think so too.
They were sort of captive of the runtime and they didn't need to be.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's why it's so hard to talk about, because I have to acknowledge those things. But I still enjoyed myself. I still enjoy these movies, and I hope they keep making them.
One thing I did want to mention is I love that Victor Drago is like buddies with Creed.
Me too. I thought that was such a cool, not throwaway, but it's like, no, it just is. Yeah, no, they're buds. They help each other.
Yeah, they went through this experience. They're not going to be enemies. Like, why would they? They have no reason to be.
Yeah. Yeah. The world building was really good.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
Yeah, and they brought back pretty Ricky Conlon in the first fight.
Right.
He was in the first Creed. Like that. That's the stuff that like you said, like they're building out. Well, and apparently Michael B. Jordan is like all on board to turn Creed into a like a multi-pronged universe of some kind,
Hey, why not? How lucky are you, when you can become a character, that has those opportunities. I
just hope that they can work out, not Michael B. Jordan, but the producers can work out their issues with Sly Stallone, because I think it's horseshit that he's essentially. I mean, when you think about it, the producers. Or it's Irwin Winkler and I think Robert Chartoff, he passed away, but they're sort of in the position now of the best case scenario for producers, where your franchise is no longer dependent on a single star.
Right.
So when could you ever say that about the Rocky franchise?
Right.
Now they can, and I think it's kind of bullshit to cut bait,
So wait, what is the story with that, by the way? I mean, so he was a producer on this, but he does not have any sort of rights to the characters or something that he created.
He doesn't own the franchise, right? The franchise is owned by Irwin Winkler and Robert Chartoff, because they took a chance on him in 1975 and got this movie made.
Right.
And for the duration of the series, it was a profitable partnership for all concerned, because at that point, Sylvester Stallone was able to command top dollar and his directing fee and whatever. I think now that he sees that the franchise is sort of moving on, he's like, well, I should own a piece of it, which I don't think is a particularly unreasonable thing to say. He's kind of like the producer's kids are going to have more say over the Rocky franchise than me.
Right.
Which, of course I agree with that,
Yeah, that's crazy.
He is credited as a producer for this film, and I'm assuming any Rocky related things, I would imagine. I don't know. But he had no involvement.
I was gonna say, much like that Smallville writer, it feels like.
Yeah, right.
In name only.
Yeah. And I don't know if there's any bad blood between Sylvester Stallone and Michael B. Jordan. I certainly hope not. But I would want, I think it's only right to make things right with the guy who you're dining out on his idea.
Absolutely. It's interesting too. I saw Stallone commented on the film saying it wasn't quite what he would have done, and he thought it was a little darker than he would go, which is funny because I kind of disagree with that. I didn't think it was very dark, but
I'm not sure where he was coming from with that, because I don't see it as being vastly different from what Stallone did in Rocky III.
Not at all. No.
So maybe he was commenting on an earlier draft or something. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I did want to mention, we talked about how they're saying, oh, we're going to do Creed anime and Creed this and Creed that. Todd Polt on Facebook posted a thing which I just found really fun. I was tickled by this, and I wanted to share this with you because I think you'd get a chuckle out of it as well. He says, "This reminds me that a few years back, as a joke, I pitched a Saturday morning Rocky cartoon if it had been made back in the 1980s. Listen to this, Brian. Tell me you can't picture this show.
I can already imagine it, actually, but yes.
The Rocky clan would travel the world to fight and get into adventures. Rocky is the not bright but kind action hero. Adrian is the useless, nagging love interest, always captured. Remember the era.
Yeah.
Paulie is the comic relief who's food obsessed like Rocky, like Shaggy.
Yeah.
Rocky Jr. and the robot would be like Spritle and Chim Chim from Speed Racer.
Holy cow. I forgot. Yeah,
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. The robot. Yeah.
Always getting into trouble. Can't decide if to retcon and have Apollo Creed still alive or not as an ally because kids are dumb. Their adversaries, well, of course, Drago and Clubber Lang, always seeking rematchers that they would always lose. They plus other villains would work for the evil organization Glove, global law dodging organization set on violent takeover of Earth.
Brilliant.
He says, we have plans to, if you stretch this crap out for 60 plus episodes, you could book for Drago and or Lang to turn babyface. Lang because he finds out Glove is peddling drugs in his old neighborhood. Drago because maybe Rocky was right and we can get along after all. I was like, I can picture that show.
Dude, I was picturing the animation when you first mentioned it, but this is amazing. I can't believe it didn't happen.
That's really, there was a Rambo cartoon.
That's right. I had a Rambo kit like made for kids. I think that was from that show where I had that like medallion pendant stone thing, like necklace, and it came with a rubber dagger. That's not crazy.
Hilarious. What's funny is that the pendant is like supposed to be a little Buddha statue.
Oh, really?
And I'm pretty sure that that's not what was in your kit, right?
Well, it's funny because in my memory it isn't because I think it was just like a green stone kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like jade, but if you look closely, it's like a little Buddha thing. It's amazing. So funny. A different time, a magical time.
Yeah. Well, by the way, so I just want to say real quick, because I everything I've been saying has been like I kind of wish and I kind of that and whatever. And it is true. But like, those are just the thoughts I couldn't help but have as I was pouring over it. But I absolutely enjoyed watching this. And I think if people are fans of this series, I don't think, they're going to love it and they should check it out for sure.
Well, there you go. So two recommendations for Creed 3.
Yeah.
Why don't we take a short break? We'll come back and talk about the other big legacy sequel that is in theaters right now. And we are back again. And hey, Brian, you know who else is back?
Who's that, Zaki?
Well, it's not Nev Campbell as Sydney Prescott.
Very good. Yes. No, she is not there.
But the Scream franchise is back just 13 months after last haunting theaters.
So I saw it with my friend Chad, and we saw the last one too. And I was like, weren't we just here? Like I remember so well seeing 5 with him. I couldn't believe 6 was already out in theaters.
Now, you and I both we had quite a good time with the 5th Scream, as I recall.
It's so funny because we're not horror people, but it seems like we enjoy this franchise. I know there's something about it. I was trying to explain it to my mom actually because she's like, "Oh, you like those?" And I was like, I feel like with Halloween and whatnot, it's like it's all about like setting up dominoes just to knock them over. And with this one, I said it's just like a really violent murder she wrote.
That's true.
So I think I like the mystery aspect of it, and this one, I thought had a fun one as well.
Well, that's kind of like, I think when a series lasts for 6 movies, you're sort of you're at the place where you're just like, well, how does it compare to the rest of them?
Yeah.
Like it's very difficult to judge on its own, like, and I
Yeah.
think with Scream, I look at this one and I'm like, I think it's very well made. I think it's gripping. I personally did not find it as compelling as the last one,
Mm.
but I don't even know if that's a ding on it really, because I did enjoy it. I came home and Amina was like, "What'd you think?" I was like, "Oh, we should go see it." Right. So
Yeah.
like I liked it, but I'm like, I felt like, well, I had to suppress my wait a minute, what the hell reflex a lot more in this one.
Absolutely. Well, I want to get into spoilers a little bit because
Yes,
there's
this one we have to.
Yeah. But yeah, as I had mentioned a couple times now, like just kind of had a really busy week and kind of spilled into the evenings and I wasn't able to watch a lot of things, but I had this on the calendar with Chad on Thursday. And so I was like, okay, but I'm going to see this. And I think, I mean, I have to color with this a little bit, but like I got out of the house, went to the theater, sat down, and I don't know, I was just in the mood. Like it just really hit the right way. And it was fun. And I was like, who is it? And like, there's a scene, I don't know if it's in the trailer, but basically where there's like a ladder, involved.
Mhm.
And I was like, no, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I was just on board with it. And I think I enjoyed 5 a lot too, but 5 gave me that funny thing where it's like they're handing over a series of new characters. And I'm like, I'm just not like, who's that kid again? Like, I'm not remembering them, even though this is supposed to be the most compelling part of the movie. Like they're, as they call themselves in this one, the core 4. And
Which, don't ever say that out loud in a horror movie. What are you, nuts?
I know. But in this one, I felt like maybe it was taking away the legacy characters or something, but like I felt like, okay, no, I'm with these kids now. Like, let's go, And I think the main girl, I don't have her name in front of me right here. The Loomis.
Sam. Yeah.
Sam, yes. Carpenter, I guess her name is Sam Carpenter. I like her struggle. I like what she's going through and what she's experiencing. I find that compelling. Yeah. So I think I felt a little more bonded to the kids this time. I liked the change of scenery. I liked being in New York, in quotes, I say. I think they're in Vancouver. But
yeah, it was very obviously not New York.
Yeah, when they were in Central Park, I was like, nah. But I did. I enjoyed the whole. It's in the trailer. The whole bodega scene, and just it's just different, I don't know. You. Sorry, I'm going on.
So no, I'm with you. Where I think I was much more invested in the new characters this time, but I think that's just by the very nature of this series is like that,
Totally.
It is funny though how Jenna Ortega in 13 months goes from total unknown when Scream 5 comes out to now she is just a living, breathing meme.
Yeah.
because of Wednesday, right? Like it's amazing how like she's hosting SNL tonight, so that's cool. I think it's smart to take the character, all of the characters out of Woodsboro.
Yes.
Because I'm like, well, yeah, you can't like what rational human being would ever live in that town?
Yeah.
After like 25 years of just murder, right?
Yeah.
Per block, So that's smart. I think where I was kind of like, okay, I think we have to start leaving logic to one side is where, you have Mindy, who's the movie nerd character, and she's like, yeah, now we're not in a legacy sequel, we're in a franchise. I'm like, well, a legacy sequel is a franchise. What have we been in this whole time? You know what I mean? It really doesn't make any sense. So it's like, you're just making up these rules as you go. Nothing makes sense,
It's so funny because it's like we've heard this monologue like 6 times now, I guess. But it almost feels like, well, you got to do it, I guess. But
you got to do the thing.
I will say this, by the way, and I remember saying this about the last one. I liked the kids, I think, more in this one than I did in the first one, but I still felt like they suffered from this kind of thing where it was like, here, watch like 12 episodes of Dawson's Creek and then pretend like you're those guys or like imitate those guys. Like that Kevin Williams or Williamson?
Williamson.
Williamson. That dialogue never sounds natural, but certain characters, or like Dawson's Creek, somehow they just kind of sold it.
Mhm.
But like coming out of these kids' mouths, it just felt a little like, all right, you can just talk normal. It's okay. You know what I mean? like being like too witty by half a little bit. I don't know. Like I found it a little grating, but I was like, oh, whatever.
It's funny because like it's totally it's the what we were talking about earlier, how you have like people playing high school kids who are clearly far too old to be,
Yeah.
you know, and they're not in high school, they're in college, but like
Yeah.
Mason Gooding, who plays Chad, he's like 26.
Oh yeah. I would have, if you had told me he's 29, I would have believed you. Yeah.
I didn't realize he's the son of Cuba Gooding.
What?
Yeah, which like
Wow. I did not know that.
So
Huh.
this is my thought. I don't know if you remember that. Well, you know what? Let's do the spoiler wall.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know if you remember this. You and I went to see, well, I know you remember we went to see Cocaine Bear, but I
Yeah.
remember they showed the trailer for this
Yes.
in front of them. Remember, you and I were talking, and I said, I think the trailer is leaning so hard into making us think Gail dies that she's not going to die.
Right.
And so I was pleased to be correct.
Same. But this is where the movie, like the expression "have your cake and eat it too" was like almost invented for this movie.
100%. 150%.
Dude, Chad is mutilated.
No, there is no universe. I said this in my review. I was like, how many gaping knife wounds can a human body take and still be considered a near miss?
To the chest. Like he's got, you know, the music, the no kind of music, and he just had his kiss finally with Jenna Ortega, and he's like got two ghost faces on either side of him into his chest. And then later, I love that they at least acknowledge it, where the character's like, how are you alive? And Ortega takes one to the back and she's climbing everywhere. Like it was so funny. Gail takes one to the chest or gut. It's like she's alive, you know.
I was like, none of the returning characters die in this movie.
Yeah.
If you are in more than one Scream movie, you did not die in this one.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, I think that's a first for this franchise.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because even in the first one, I mean, they killed basically all our friends, right?
Yeah. Well, her and Dewey,
Rose McGowan, and what's his name, Jamie Kennedy, like they all, yeah. But yeah.
Well, he dies in the second one, right?
That's right, the second one.
But here's the thing, like you weigh that, because like Gail, if Gail had died, I would have been pissed. I think you would have been pissed too.
Yeah, and you know, almost because it would have felt more out of obligation than anything.
Exactly.
Where it's like, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Right.
So
the fact, like, first of all, when Gail's like, I talked to Sydney, she took off, she deserves her happy ending. I'm like, whew, deep sigh of relief, because I absolutely agree. Right. I'm like, as far as I'm concerned, if Scream 5 is the last we see of Sydney, that's perfectly fine with me. Right?
Yeah.
That's number one. So with her, where she's like, tell Sydney he never got me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no more Gail in these movies.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, she's done now.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't think they need the legacy characters anymore, actually.
I don't either, but I do wonder if, I mean, we don't see her in a hospital bed. I wonder if it was a decision they made later, you know?
No, it felt very much like a post thing. I would not be surprised by that.
Yeah.
And I think bringing Hayden Panettiere is sort of their way of being like, oh, but here's like a continuing character.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so going back to what you were saying, like, you know, there's Chad, but there's also Mindy's girlfriend.
Yes.
Who, like, she should have been dead way before she got on that ladder.
On the ladder, yeah.
Right? Because again, I'm like, I don't think the human body works like you guys think.
I know. I mean, it's disgusting to say, but I think she would have been kind of spilling out of herself at that point.
Right?
Yeah. But I was like, because we're not like gorehounds or anything. So for me, it's sort of like the chase and how they're going to get out of this and thing. And so with the whole ladder conceit. I was like, I love this. Like, oh, and I saw it in 3D. And I wasn't thinking about it most of the movie, but that moment when it did that overhead shot of how high up the ladder is stretched out between those two buildings, I was like,
Oh,
yo.
sure, 3D. Yeah.
Oh, it
Wow.
really made my stomach drop. I was like, wow, this is cool.
Wow,
And then when he's over there just shaking the ladder, I don't know, man. It was maybe I was just in the mood for something like crazy like this.
Here's
It totally
my
worked for
thing.
me.
I feel like the filmmakers forget that Ghostface is supposed to be a regular dude.
Yes, totally. Yeah.
Right, because it's like, and I would even apply this backward to the other films, because do they think it's like Michael Myers under the costume or something,
Right.
like with superpowers or something? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like they throw like air conditioners at this person, and he's like, "Oh," and he just gets back up. Yeah,
Yeah, and then the movie with any of them, it'll end and it's like, "Hi, I'm a little girl. I was
Yes.
Ghostface the whole time." Like,
yeah, yeah. Where she's like punching through walls earlier,
right. So it's I sound like I'm mocking, and I'm really not, because at the end of the day, I know what I'm expecting from these, and I think on the spectrum of sequels, I think it's one of the better ones.
I agree. I mean, yeah, and all the things I'm making fun of it for are kind of why I like it.
Yeah. Now, I do want to get your thoughts. I think that the who is Ghostface in this one was kind of ridiculous, and I'm very curious to hear your thoughts.
I mean, when they introduced the shrine, I was like, this is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
it's almost cartoonish. You know what I mean? The fact that like someone would even collect all this stuff and have it, like, it's like you just kind of have to go there with it, I suppose. Yeah, no, it was crazy. But I will say I don't want to say I was ahead of the movie, but I sort of like, I think it's Hayden Panettiere. Like, I thought it was her kind of early. And then when the movie was like, it's her, I was like, oh, it isn't her. Like,
Right.
It's someone else. But
I mean, you're bouncing back and forth between Dermot Mulroney or Dylan McDermott, and then you're like, wait, Dylan McDermott's not in this.
Right.
But I mean, it's either him or her, right? That's kind of
totally.
And it was weird because, at least to me, like when Dermot Mulroney finally has his heel turn, he goes from 0 to 100.
Yes, which I was like, oh, dude, he's like having a blast.
He's going for it, and I was like, you, the level of plotting, and like I don't think it holds up to logic.
No, not at all. And I mean, I was sort of laughing too, where he's like, my son's a filmmaker. Do you like his movies? I was like, all right, like this is a cartoon, like, and those movies are like being projected onto that torn sheet. But which,
what's
by the way,
funny sorry, with his kids, Dermot Mulroney's kids.
Yes.
Like earlier in the movie, it's like, hey, no, I couldn't be me. I'm his classmate. And it's like, you know how easy it is to game that? And well, it couldn't be me. I'm her roommate. Well, you know how easy it is to do that?
Yes.
And then at the end, it's like, well, I gamed his roommate thing, and I gamed her roommate thing, or whatever. It's like, okay, so you just did the thing. Okay, good.
Totally. I will admit they threw me off a little bit with the subway, with the son. I was like, oh, it wasn't him. Okay.
Right.
But, which, by the way, did you realize that's Spider from Avatar? The boy?
Really?
Yeah.
It would never have even occurred to me.
Never. I think I saw some sort of thing, like online thing this morning about it, but I was like, I would have never in a million years put that together. But anyway, yeah, no, the kid, I mean, it was, yeah, it's funny. But wait, let's talk about the opening real quick. Because, there's always
I wanted to mention this. You talk about such a great subversion of what this franchise has conditioned us to.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you have the random person who's going to get killed at the beginning, who's not going to be a part of the story, right? And which is they're all horrifying, but this one I was like, this poor person. Like, I felt really bad for her. But then usually it's like the last slash is like, and then it says scream or something, right? But with this one, it doesn't go to that. And then the person takes off the mask.
And it's Flash Thompson, that son of a bitch.
Yes, from Spider-Man. And I was like,
Now that first of all, before you progress,
yeah,
so Samara Weaving plays the first victim,
yes,
and I'm like, how are you going to be a professor of horror cinema
yes,
and
I know.
walk your dumb ass into a dark alley at night?
Yes,
What is the matter with you?
yes,
I'm not saying you
100%.
deserved it, but you are not a smart person.
Yeah, yeah, you're teaching something you know nothing about.
But yeah, just the when he pulls his mask off, and you're like, huh. Now right away, I was like, well, obviously he's not Ghostface, right? That was my thought.
You know, I had a thought because then the camera keeps following him, and I was like, what? Like, I love this. Like, what's going on? And I didn't think too far through it, but I thought it would be kind of cool if there was a Knives Out situation where, like, what if we know who it is? Like, what if they take a movie to turn it on its head? And I mean, that's not where it went. It just ended up being an extended, like, well, and he gets killed too, kind of thing. But like,
Right.
I thought that was a really cool subversion, and I enjoyed that.
No, I thought so. Yeah, I think that to some extent the movie kind of teases towards the idea that maybe Sam is Ghostface,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, she seems kind of haunted and like something she's withholding. Yeah.
That's right. So I was like, well, that's kind of interesting. They didn't really go with it very far, but actually, and on that note, I'm also glad that these movies are giving continued employment to Skeet Ulrich.
That's right. Yeah.
He gets to show up as ghostly Billy Loomis. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Did you recognize her psychologist, by the way?
Yes, the voice. It was unmistakable.
Right? It's
Yeah.
Henry Czerny from Mission Impossible.
Yep.
Yeah, it's so funny because the thought I had when it ended, I was like, man, that was a trip, right? But I'm also like, every time one of these movies, I'm like, how much longer can you go with this?
Yeah, I mean, it really is. How many interesting stories can you come up with? Because the clever thing is it's never the same person. You know, it's sort of like I remember as a little kid seeing Friday the 13th. I don't know, 6 or something. The people who actually know what I'm about to say are going to be like, "You idiot! It's 5." But I remember, like, as a little kid, just flipping channels and seeing the beginning of a Friday the 13th. And apparently, he had been killed in the previous film, and someone was like digging him up for reasons I don't understand. And then I think he's like, I gotta make sure he's dead. And he like sticks like a pole in him, and then lightning strikes, and it like brings him back to life. And then you got the movie. And I remember thinking, like, you idiot.
So, Brian, that would be Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning.
Well, there you go. It was you.
I actually only know that because that was the How Did This Get Made episode that I had.
Oh, that's funny.
Go see. That's the only reason I know that.
Well, see, and that's what the links you have to go to keep having your main character come back. But I think in this one, it's like Murder, She Wrote. You know, they can have different motives. It can be a different person. It can be one. It can be two. So as long as you can keep me interested, you know, or come up with exciting things for these characters to go through, you can keep going, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think, I mean, obviously this movie is cleaning up. I think it's the biggest opening ever for this franchise. So there's obviously going to be a 7th one. And it's so weird because what you said earlier about Chad, I'm like, does this make him more or less likely to die in the next one?
Right. What will it take? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that was the one, it was so, how maintaining hold of your audience is such a delicate thing. I remember I went to a press screening, and this at the end when they're wheeling Chad out, you could hear an audible like that.
Yeah.
But isn't that interesting? Like, even though, like, I like Chad, you like Chad, we don't want him to be dead.
No,
right?
Of course.
But it intellectually, emotionally, his being alive doesn't make sense.
And then it kind of ruins the integrity of whatever they're trying to do to us, you know? Because then it's like, well, if these people can like literally have like Daffy Duck, get shot in the face and go, like, this means war. Yeah. Like then what is anything,
Yeah.
matter?
Yeah.
But
But it's still a thumbs up for me. Like I'm gonna stick with what I said, where I liked the fifth one better in that I felt like it had more to say. It was saying something about the current trend of legacy sequels and sort of toxic
yeah,
internet culture. Like there was something going on. This one it gets into that a little bit, where with like Reddit conspiracies and stuff. But this one is more like, oh, let's go bigger, and I think it does that. But I think in terms of being, and I honestly I think that for as hard as it was to watch, I think Dewey's death gives a weight to the fifth movie
yeah, sure.
that this one doesn't necessarily have.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Yeah, I was the circumstances, whatever. Like I was just on this movie's wavelength, and I walked out like, well, that was fun.
So we got two recommendations this week.
You will, yeah, two that you won't go wrong with this weekend. So that's kind of a nice place to be, huh?
And I think just as Rocky being out of Creed keeps him alive, Sydney being out of Scream keeps her alive. So
Wow, look at the parallels,
it's so funny.
right? Yeah. Well, and I was listening to another podcast and they were pointing this out, but March is kind of crazy. I mean, since COVID, there's been fewer major releases, lined up next to one another, right? So it used to be there'd be like two major releases on one weekend, and you're like, well, which one am I going to see? And then it became like there was two major releases a month, and then now in March you have Creed, you got Scream, you got Shazam, you got John Wick 4. It's kind of coming back where these big things are coming up.
Wow. Well, with that in mind, we will be back soon to talk about Shazam,
Yeah.
which I think I can't remember if I said it on the show, but I know I said it to you. I was like, it feels like that one is headed towards a disappointing opening.
Versus like what, like expectation, projection kind of thing, or
Yeah, or even just the first one.
Sure. Are you
feel
sensing
like-
that with like buzz, like lack of buzz, or like Twitter sort of stuff, or?
Well, I just saw a TV spot where Gal Gadot shows up as Wonder Woman
In Shazam?
in Shazam, and I was like, well, if there it was ever a sign of desperation, I feel like that is it.
Because they don't trust that people will show up to be delighted by that. They have to show their cards.
Yeah, because that feels like a kind of a big thing to kind of keep in your back pocket.
I agree. Yeah.
I would have liked to have not known she was in it.
Same. Thanks, Zaki. No, I'm
It's
just kidding.
what I do. Local man ruins everything. That's what I do.
Right.
But we will be back soon to talk about Shazam, and hopefully we will try to get a commentary track dropped at some point. Although, my gosh, I mean, it's been so
know.
hectic. That's probably the most frustrating thing for both of us, is just trying to find time to do commentaries on top of the regular show.
I know.
But
I'm so glad we got to do this. I was excited to talk about both of these.
It really did work out, where a slight delay last week equaled something where we could just squeeze it into doing a twofer. So hopefully people found it beneficial. I hope.
Yeah.
But with that, hey, let us know your thoughts on either Creed 3 or Scream 6 or any other movies with Roman numerals at the end. We're not picky.
History of the World Part 2? I'm curious. I haven't.
That's dropping right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not hearing great things about it though. So
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm wondering.
Yeah.
I will check it out though.
Yeah, me too at some point.
But you can email us with your thoughts at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit like on our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast. If you're looking for me, you can find me on Twitter at Zaki's Corner. That's ZAKIS Corner. That's also my website, justadded.com. You can also look for my Scream 6 review at the San Francisco Chronicle, and go to the wrap later this week and read my thoughts on Gotham Knights, which you heard me discuss earlier. Brian, what about you? What do you got going on?
Just stuff that's coming up, I guess. Young Jedi Adventures is coming May the 4th. Will be on Disney Junior, I know for sure, and then Disney Plus for sure. And then I guess at Celebration in a month, they're going to be showing 2 episodes, which is kind of cool. But that's in London. So for anybody over in London,
if you're going to be there, yeah.
No, it's kind of a bummer. I mean, yeah, if it was in Anaheim again, I definitely would. But Yeah, maybe next year.
Well, either way, if you like what we're doing, please go to Apple Podcasts and leave a review, leave a star rating. Every little bit helps, and we do very much appreciate that. And just again, echoing what Brian said earlier, and from me as well, your comments mean so much to us. So the fact that you take the time and effort to do that, it really is just everything.
Yeah, definitely.
With that, I will bring the curtain down on Movie Film 265. We will catch you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Enjoy the show. Zaki